Hey everybody, this is Grace, and in this video I'm going to give an example of people who believe that the world owes them something. How many of us were raised hearing this all the time, that the world doesn't owe you anything? I remember hearing that as a kid from my dad. It's pretty sad when your dad says nobody owes you anything, and you're like, but wait a minute. Nobody owes me anything. How am I going to survive? As a kid. Never mind. Anyway, but the older I get, I hear more people, even, it doesn't matter what age. They're all ages. Getting online, I see more and more people, hear them, what they say, is that as if the world owes them something. Their viewers, their, audience, not necessarily their subscribers, but they owe them something, or that they should consider that maybe they owe them something. The video content creator is what they're called. We're called content creators. And that's not true. They just don't. Unless they're buying a product, but some people, that's how they see the world, is that the world owes them something. And they usually, quite often, in my experience, and I'm not saying everybody who does this, but the ones who do, that I have seen, that I have known, I have witnessed, whatever, I don't necessarily know them in person, is that they are rather narcissistic. Their traits, characteristics, behaviors hint way at narcissistic. I'm not diagnosing them with narcissistic personality disorder, but their behaviors appear to be very narcissistic. And on top of that, they also, I wouldn't claim that they have, that they are using or have, I don't know how you even put it, for this one, the dark triad or dark tetrad. But there is a combination. And is that the extreme self-interest that is both narcissistic, but it's also Machiavellian. The dark triad is narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. But just take off the psychopathy. The people that are doing what example I'm going to give tend to seem to me to have those two things going on. The narcissism and the Machiavellianism. That is a, strong sense of self, that they're what matters, and there's more to it. I recently made a video about it. I read it off of the AI overview, I don't know that the AI overview says how does it get it. I didn't look it up. It's information, but what I gather is that it gathers. It just gathers information for people I put up on the internet that's still there from who knows how long. That's how I see it. I could be wrong. But it also could be wrong, because on some topics, anybody can put stuff up, and then what they think, what they say becomes the rule? No. But with, it could. Anyway, let's move on. The Machiavellianism, I wrote down a few things. Like I did that video too, to make sure, but I wrote down to make sure I mention these, is the manipulativeness. They're very manipulative. Okay, master manipulators, and they do it because overall, it's for personal gain, for themselves, and it could be for themselves and their family, but really they're thinking of themselves. And maybe, they have a family that they're taking, they have to take care of their children or whatever. And they just don't want to have to work so hard to do it. So they're personal gain, okay. But, they're deceitful. They have high levels of self-interest, like I'm saying. And they tend to see other people as means to an end. Okay, and now when you add the psychopathy into that, Wow, but you don't, but I'm not going to on this, so. But like I said, I want to give an example, and, you know, people who think that the world owes them something, this type, these that employ these two, and you just give an example. And it's going to be a little bit of a strange example, but I think more people might be able to relate to it when they get online. The people that would watch me quite often are women and around my age, I believe. I don't know, I haven't checked the analytics in a long time for anything like that. I don't know, years, decades. My original channel will be 11 years in August, so. I do want to say, pardon me if I sound a little bit out of breath. You know, I have all these health issues going on, and shortness of breath is one of them. But usually I have to be doing something to have it. That's a little different than people who, they don't have to be doing anything, obviously. But mine is I have to be doing something. But still, you know, just walking out, just from me, like inside my house, walking around to get ready to go and stuff like that, can make me out of, you know, have shortness of breath. It's gonna get there. To where I'm doing more and more about it. I have more tests coming up. But I'm saying this because if I sound, you know, like right now I had to take a deep breath. But one of the interesting things I've noticed about this is I have to get out of the house. Out of my house. You know, I have a big 2-story house. And it's big and it's open. But I have to get out of the house at least once a day, or the shortness of breath gets worse. We can't figure it out. And we've done everything from opening the windows to, you know, airing it out. He just changed the filter today. We have 2 filters. We have an air conditioner upstairs and downstairs. I don't know if he changed both of them or the main one for the AC unit, you know. I don't know if he changed the upstairs one. But yesterday we broke a record with heat. I think the highest was 103. But the highest heat index I saw, you know, that feels like real feel, whatever they call it wherever you live, was 110. So, and that really, it started yesterday. I started feeling like, oh, having a hard time breathing, you know, a little, not a real hard time, but bad enough. Anyway, I just wanted to say that in case you're wondering. But, so I'm getting out every day. I have to get out, really. And I guess the way I put it is my SUV has a nice new filter too. And it helps. And it does. Interesting, huh? Now back to the topic. Okay, now like I said, the somewhat weird example is how many of us, you know, who've been online and watched videos for years. I said my original channel will be 11 years old soon. Okay, and I've, you know, run across, you know, a lot of stuff recommended to me, so many different things. And I've run across a lot of women and men, some men, but not as many men, but plenty of women, who do vlog-like, you know, videos also. They may have a certain genre, but they also do some vlog-like videos. Okay, in those vlog like videos, some of them, not all of them, will do cooking. I have in the past, when I'm a horrible cook. But I've made some things, you know, real, you know, just like we got a grill from Costco called The Rock, and you put it on the electrical, which one is electronic or electrical? Stovetop, and you know, I cooked burgers and stuff like that on it to show how it worked and all that. Or I made goulash. I'm gonna make some goulash tonight. I keep telling myself to make it, but I don't know. We'll see. I'll stop right here. So, now a lot of these people who are making these kinds of, you know, vlogs, and then they make some, you know, cook a meal, they're not trying to impress people. And some of them are, but some of them aren't. They're just showing, hey, this is what I cook and this is how I cook it. This is what's for dinner, that kind of thing. And I mean, I was never trying to impress anybody. Like I said, I'm a horrible cook, and I don't have a problem saying it. I really don't have a problem saying it. But but there are some who, they are trying to. But I'm talking about the ones who seem like that they're not. And they use ingredients. It's not all that expensive. So this is all fine and good. Like I said, this might be a strange, example. But now, how would this fit into people who think the world owes them something? Or they get that mentality, the world owes them something. The kind of people, I've seen so many over all these years, who say that because they have a YouTube, like a YouTube channel or whatever they use on the other social media, or they'll say, well, if you're watching, you should. They're have the nerve to tell people, you should help support my channel. Okay, you decided to do your channel, so why are they helping support you? They don't owe you anything. I've seen it so many years and said so many different ways. You owe me. When it comes down to it, that's what they're saying, that the people watching owe them. My goodness. But anyway, and they offend people. And I could go on and on about that, and I have over all these years. But anyway, so the people who think the world owes them stuff, yeah, that's basically what they do. They'll cook something and, act like people owe them because they shared in their sage advice, or they shared in their, their fantastic cooking. And it's like, really? That's just kind of simple stuff. It's like people who made awesome recipes for stewed potatoes. Now, I'm Texan, okay, born and raised Texan. And those stewed tomatoes, I'm like, that's just a second away from being mashed potatoes. That's not how I cook them, man. I cook them in that's one thing I will say I can cook good. Really, stewed potatoes. Okay, apparently then that's a better way to turn around instead of going to the road. Anyway, but some people, they think, okay, some people, like I said, they have channels. That's their genre, is to cook meals, and they feel like people should pay them. Some don't. Some know, they don't have to have all that and everything. But anyway, but that's not really the example that I want to give. It's the people who have, the example involves people who have, who are beggars, e-beggars, electronic beggars. They get online and they beg. In some way, they start off, it seems so scripted. I have seen so many of these over all these years. So it just seems so scripted. And they're con artists, manipulators, scammers, charlatans. There's so many different names and so many different ways they do it. Grifters. Let's see what else. There's so many. Seriously, in my mom's age, they would have been called, or her mother's, her parents' years, their parents, my parents' parents. Flim flam. I always think of my mother because of, her mother. Yeah, I'll go into that another time. But, she was not a flim flam artist, or I don't know what you call them, flim flam, something like that. But anyway, she was actually a nurse. She was around a lot of people that she was very vocal. Let's just put it that way. And anyway, but a lot of people these people, that are con artists, like this, they find a way to get their audience to pay for them, to give them lots of money. I've seen a lot of these. I've seen some that would give money like you would not believe from their audience, and they're lying the whole time. They're scamming. They might even put up something claiming it's their, like something that's in the news, claiming it's their situation when it's not. It's a scam, in my opinion. And my degrees, my master's degree is in sociology, so yeah. I have a little bit of a voice, quite a bit of a voice of authority on something like that. I'm not going to downplay my accomplishments. You know, there's research that says that women are taught to downplay their accomplishments. Whenever, instead, they should be putting them out there, because that's what makes them have the, you know, the voice of authority to do so. Women, you know, women or men or anybody who knows how to cook, I say it. If you know how, say it. You know what I'm saying? And that is not my thing. But anyway. Okay, I'm sitting here noticing some people had put up some bird seed holders, you know, for birds, but squirrels also. And I just saw a rat. It's in the woods next to where I am, but you can't see it's right next to me. Rat ran up, got one, ran away. They're all God's animals, right? Anyway, to go back on this. So the example. You know, imagine, okay, somebody who's doing a different genre, it's not cooking, but they'll show some cooking every once in a while. And there's more than one person that's done this over all this time and just is doing it right now. More than one. And the cooks this and that. But they set it up going back possibly years. One of them probably 5 years or so. To saying that they just don't have the money, enough money for groceries. They have to eat very frugal, very lean. Well, that's kind of different, frugal and lean, but you know what I mean. Because lean food, lean meats are usually generally more expensive, but that's not the kind of lean I'm talking about. But very frugal, you know. Hey, I've been, in my lifetime, when I was younger, oh my goodness, I had some really rough times when I was younger. Seriously rough times. And I even went to food bank a couple times in my life. Yeah, the most awful food around. You know, beggars can't be choosers, right? But hey, these beggars. I'm getting there. But yeah, I've had some rough times, and I've known that, you know, the food that I had to wind up cooking and eating was not healthy for this person. I'm a diabetic with a rare health condition. My diet needs to be a certain way, but it couldn't. I went through some rough times, more than once. And I remember 99-cent Whoppers. It's a long time ago. I don't even remember what year. It was decades ago. And I remember eating meals consisted of, which was not a healthy diet at all, but rice and beans. Beans and rice. You know, that's a lot of carbs right there. And like I said, it was not healthy. And that's basically sometimes that would, you know, I don't know. I think I went twice, like I said, to food bank, and then, or maybe more than once, more than twice. I don't know. And what I always saw was the same thing. It was mainly like beans and rice. And lots of bread, lots of carbohydrates, lots and lots of carbohydrates. But the meat, no. No. They didn't have meat, which, you know, these are donations, but there was a food bank. It wasn't at a church. It was where churches gave the donation. There was that darn thing again. No, that was a squirrel. Okay. Some people say a squirrel is just a rat with a furry tail. Really? Anyway. Okay, and there's also a cardinal looking down at the squirrel like, come on. I'm not kidding. A red cardinal. Of course, red. Anyway. I know I spread these things out too long, but that's okay. That's what I'm going to do. I've always done it. But anyway. So, the people who have this kind of, it's all about them. They're focused on their personal gain. They are so narcissistic, and it's all about them, however they want to do it, what they do, lie, cheat, deceive. All of that to get what they want. They go around saying that they don't have enough money for groceries. I'm on this lately for a reason. They're so manipulative. They get people to believe that they don't have money for groceries. Okay. When you don't have money for groceries, in my experience, and I'm not an expert on this topic, about how much calories you gain eating, how much weight you could gain or lose, whichever way. But I have really never known anybody that was going through rough times to gain a bunch of weight. Okay, when they didn't have enough money for groceries, I never knew anybody in my life until recently, online, that gained a lot of weight. I'm talking like 100 pounds. And it's more than one person, not 100 pounds, but let's say between 50 and 100 pounds. It's more than one person. It seems like, it's, like I said, so scripted. And some of them copycat one another for these kinds of things. You should see this. The wildlife has come out. What time is it? It's 5:24. They've all come out to eat. It's so cute. Really, the cardinal finally got down to the ground to get some of the food away from the squirrels. Anyway, so imagine they e-beg month after month after month after month. They talk about, they e-beg, they just talk about how hard it is for them because they don't have enough money for groceries. Some of them may have a family, some may be single, a single person. On and on they go. And they mention every once in a while, some brag about it, that their audience sends them money. But not so much. Some of them won't say that. Okay, because guess what? If they think that, the audience thinks, oh, well, somebody else is sending it, the audience might not send them anymore. Those who say, oh, well, she's talking about, they're sending them money, so they've got enough money. Still not the point. Oh, now they're, okay, animal show, don't start fighting. Anyway, so now imagine one of them starts showing things like what they're eating. Not one of them. This is actually more than one. And I've seen over the past couple weeks. They're showing, actually it's been probably a few months altogether, showing what they're eating. Okay. And what they're eating is, what's going like, doesn't seem like I don't have money for food kind of groceries. One of the little squirrels running away. But, oh, it's a little baby squirrel. Oh, so cute. Anyway, the amount of groceries, like they go and buy groceries. And they're buying stuff that, I have been cooking since I was a child. I'm 61. I'll be 62 pretty soon. And I've been at least 10 years old. I don't know, maybe even before then. And I have a pretty good idea. Oh, don't hit the baby squirrel. I have a pretty good idea how much stuff costs and what is expensive. Yeah, a pretty big idea. But yesterday, for some reason, look at this baby squirrel. It's so cute. Oh, it was standing straight up like a prairie dog. Anyway, so I got this in my head. I don't know why. Run, squirrely. But, I don't know why I got this in my head yesterday. Then I wanted to see this one meal that one of them was making. Actually, it was more than one meal. that I looked up. I think it was a total of, I actually wrote them down. Let me see. Not just one person. Because once I got interested in this, I'm going to keep doing this. Let's see. 6 or 7, something like that, meals that I checked out that the people who are talking about if they don't have enough money for groceries, then they have to, live very frugal and so on. Well, I was really shocked by one of them. The one that I wanted to check out, because that's not something that I make, but I have a really good idea of how much it would cost to make. And it's a salad. I'm not going to go into detail. And so what I did was, like I say, I really don't know. I really can't even claim that's how it came about, or there was a certain thought in my mind that made it come about a certain way. I really can't claim that. Maybe it just popped into my head. But I started looking up the ingredients. This one, how much each bit cost on average. Some of it actually had the price on it. And okay, now this is for 2 people. 2 people. And meals for 2 people. And how much do you think the salad, which is, it could be a side, a side, or the proportions that were made could be a side or the main meal. It just depends. But I don't know how much each person eats, but it could be just the whole salad as this, just a side, not the entree, like I keep saying for some reason. But I was floored when I added it up. I said, who would make a salad that's having to live in a frugal fashion, who doesn't have enough money, who tells the audience, over and over and over again, they don't have enough money for groceries? Who would make a salad, not lettuce salad, but a salad that, and let me read how much, I wrote it down, how much it costs? A salad for 2 people, that's it. There's no more left. 2 people, $42.14. Who would do that? I'm sorry. I've had a time when I had, more than once in my life, I had to live a frugal lifestyle. I had to watch, I was a starving student for a while there. And it was even worse at other times. I wasn't a starving student at those times. I didn't have enough money to buy groceries. Spending $42.14, whatever it would make it back then. No, I mean, who does that? Somebody who believes, in my opinion, somebody who believes that the world owes them something. So they get their audience to pay for them. They want to live a lifestyle the way they want to live it, and they think their audience owes it to them. The world owes things to them. That high sense of entitlement. So they get money from their audience to go eat in such an, $42.14 for a salad for 2 people. Unless you're a wealthy person, even a wealthy person, I'm not poor anymore. Okay, I don't worry about money anymore. I used to really, like I said, really bad. I still live a frugal lifestyle. I really do. And more recently, it's a vicious cycle with my health and all. I can't stand up and cook, and Adam cooks, and he never was. I was always a homemaker, And so I'd still try to cook, get out of breath and all that stuff. But so we eat out. We're not worried about the money. It's just that the sodium, oh my gosh. I never cooked with sodium, with salt much. Garlic salt, just a little to add some taste. And I see people, they just pour it in there, pour, you know, salt or garlic salt or whatever. Like, wow, really? Oh my gosh. It's just shocking to me. It's just shocking. But I gotta show you this. I don't know if you can see all of them, but maybe one or two. But there's a rat and 3 squirrels. There's a squirrel up there. Yeah. And a cardinal. So, okay, I should say that. Even though I don't believe in it, I shouldn't tempt fate. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I usually say that every video that I talk about stuff like this. But $42.14 for the salad, really? And then another one, you know, these are not the same people. You know, how about one, you know, each meal that the person eats, one who's saying that they don't have enough money for groceries, each meal, you know, see, the bad thing is, like, I'm going by Texas prices. Texas, our cost of living is a lot lower than several states. So, and plus, you know how quick things change. All of a sudden, real expensive, much more expensive or cheaper, whatever. So is it going to mean anything tomorrow? Today's May 15th. But, you know, to me, somebody eating, you know, $10 a meal is probably, you know, for lunch or dinner, it's still a bit expensive. You can make a meal for, you know, one person $5 or less even. Okay, if you make it at home. If you're having to live real frugal. Not saying that it's the most healthiest, nope. But still, I mean, I've calculated up, okay, because this person, yeah, these people, not this person, but one of them, $20 a meal. Okay. And that seemed to be the thing. You know, I checked more and more and more, okay. Okay, there's 7 of them now. Wow. And I don't know what happened to the bird, the cardinal. Anyway. Okay, one day, okay, with this, I calculated this. If the meals, say, one person made, without the breakfast, not including breakfast, not including snacks, and maybe not even including a side for one of the meals. So they still have all that left. But just the other meals, $100, around $100 per day? Really? I mean, how many? That's for one person. Well, no, wait, 2 people. 2 people. Without the breakfast, snacks, and, like I said, maybe one side. They need another side. If you eat side. I don't eat sides, so usually. And like I said, I'm not mine is not the healthiest, but I mean, how many of you eat $100 a day? Or, you know, $50 a day? How many of you eat a salad that your portion is $20 for the salad? Which could be your side salad. Not the entree. When you have the entree, you're eating 40, you know, 30, $40 at just a meal. I just don't think of people. I've been on YouTube I've been online. I had my first computer in 1982. I've seen plenty of people and known plenty of people. And I don't know hardly any that ate like that. And I was around a bunch of computer geeks. Okay, they didn't even eat like that. I mean, of course it would be adjusted for the year, but no. Golly, all these animals are just, wow, they're multiplying in front of my eyes. But anyway, I mean, how many? I don't know of anybody. But and these are people who are doing it off of the money that their audience sends them, and I don't think the audience is, not all of them are wealthy people. A lot of them are on fixed incomes, and they're sending, some of them will send $2, donate $2. I mean, if you're on a fixed income, $2 is a lot, can be a lot. I mean, I don't know where you live. How much does a can of this or a can of that? You can buy a canned meal for $1, you know, depending on where you live, what you're buying. But and to some people, that's a meal. And these people are going out and spending their money. It had hit me one time, well, twice before, 2 different people. And I didn't do anything like go and add up the prices, even look the stuff up, because some of it I had never seen before. And using some of the most expensive stuff. It reminded me of Adam's sister when she came here. Oh my goodness. Okay, this was back in, I don't know, I think it was, oh man, when was it? I cannot remember, 2017, 2018, or before then, I don't remember now. But she was here in the United States. She's from another country. And she was here for 6 months. She visited her 3 brothers. All of them live in different places. Adam being one of her brothers. And a holy terror. And she's between my age and his. He's older. And she, you know, she wouldn't spend, nobody asked her to spend her money. But that's not how we are. Somebody comes and stays with us, we spend our money. And it's just how we are. So, one of the things she wanted to do, just like her daughter, who's 31, who just left and will never return to this country. She left in January. But, they both did the same thing. They wanted this olive oil that was so expensive. I mean, I don't remember the amount it cost, but it was, I want to say, for just the olive oil, not, you know, some of them come in like cans. I don't use olive oil, I know. But it was something like $50. Am I wrong? Seriously, I don't know. I really don't know as far as olive oil. But they wanted to buy, I mean, they didn't come together. So first it was her mother, Adam's sister. Like I said back then. And she did not have a problem using Adam's money. Spending Adam's money, because, you know, I had to take her because she's from another country. She didn't have her driver's license here and all that. And just the stuff she would buy. I mean, I had to tell her when there was a language barrier, no. I didn't have a problem telling her no. But at the same time, I'm a nice person, so it was a little awkward. And just the nerve of somebody wanting to spend, you know, I'm saying Adam's money like it's all his. It's not. But she did it because that's how she saw things, that it was Adam's money. No. And I mean, me, like I said, we're not as poor. We're not poor. We used to be poor when we were younger. We knew how to be frugal. We knew, you know, we met and married when I was 18. And it was rough. Rough. And I'm not a dog. I'm not barking. But it was rough. So some people are like that. They just think it's fine. You know, and some, that's not the only person I knew like that. There was a man I knew like that. You know, if somebody was to help him, he wanted to make sure that they spent the most money that possible, buy the most expensive stuff for his, because that's how he saw himself. You know, beggars can't be choosers. Some of us know this. You know, whoa, you were way too close. But these are people who believe that the world owes them. So therefore, anybody who's helping them, they owe it to them. It's not helping because they owe it. And they deserve, you know, that high sense of entitlement to have the best stuff. Like these people I'm talking about online who are eating expensive stuff to be one who doesn't have money for groceries. And people are helping them out. That's to me, that's the nerve. You know what I'm saying? The nerve of these people. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. You wouldn't believe how many of these animals are coming out. The scary thing is, yeah, there's a couple of rats, but most of them are squirrels. They're just hungry. They're all hungry. You know? So, anyway, I'm going to go. I can understand now why they say they don't want these things here, but anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap them up. I'll talk to you on another video. Bye.